press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello dear students. So in the last video we were discussing the loss of biodiversity. So in this session I take up causes of biodiversity loss. So what are the major causes for the biodiversity loss? So that we are going to discuss today. As we were discussing, so as we are talking about the loss of biodiversity. So loss of biodiversity, it is caused mainly due to extinction of species, right? So many species have become extinct and many of them are on the waiting list. So that means they are going to become extinct in the near future. Okay, so extinction of species is one of the cause for loss of biodiversity. So species extinction, it is mainly because of several reasons, and it is mainly or largely due to human activities. So today we are going to discuss there are so many causes. So today we are going to discuss the 4 major causes of biodiversity loss. So they are called the evil quartet. The evil quartet of biodiversity loss. So quartet, the evil quartet means, so there are 4 major quartet, we are using quartet here, that means that there are 4 major causes of biodiversity loss. So this is the sobriquet used to describe them, that is what the 4 major causes of biodiversity, no? So this is the sobriquet, that means it is a nickname, it is used to describe the 4 major causes of biodiversity loss. So let us see what are the 4 major causes or the evil quartet of biodiversity loss. So the first one is biodiversity loss. So the first one is habitat loss. Habitat loss and fragmentation. The second one is overexploitation. The third one is alien species invasion. And the last one, our 4th one is co-extinction. Okay, so these are the evil quartet, the 4 major causes of biodiversity. So these are the 4 major causes of the biodiversity loss. Understood? Okay, so let us discuss one by one in detail. So what is the first cause? The habitat loss and fragmentation. Okay. So one of the major cause for species extinction. So as I said, loss of biodiversity, it is caused due to a species extinction. Okay. So the main cause for species extinction is destroying of their natural habitat. So we are destroying the natural habitat of the species where they are living. So we are destroying the home of the living organisms, number of species of plants and animals. We are destroying their natural habitat. So that's why due to destruction of their habitat, so they find difficult to survive in such a restricted area or the habitat. Okay. So when you look at into the present situation, so the population is growing like anything, right? So it's because of overpopulation and because of urbanization and industrialization. So all these things, that it may be urbanization, industrialization, okay, so ever growing population, so that requires an additional area of land, okay, so that requires an additional area of land every year after year requires a land. So that the people are occupying the natural, so where that land or where that area come to the people, so it can come by a destruction of destruction of the habitat and the fragmentation. So the people are start occupying because of their needs, okay, so they are occupying the natural habitat of the species. So that has resulted in the habitat loss. So they are destroying, the people are destroying, humans are destroying the natural habitat of the species. So they are burning, they are cutting down the trees. So they are cutting down the trees and they are filling the wetlands and they are using grasslands for grazing animals, okay, and they are converting grasslands into croplands. They are growing crops in the grassland, so thereby they converting the cropland into a grassland, okay, and also burning of forest. So all these activities causes a greater loss to the habitat, okay, so that become a home for several species of plants and animals. So it's due to her habitat destruction, and one more is fragmentation. So what is fragmentation here? So in habitat fragmentation, so that large area or the larger habitat gets broken down into a smaller fragments. Okay, so it is because of maybe because of the construction of roads, or maybe digging of canals, okay, so maybe digging of canals, or due to construction of factories, industries, okay, or due to the conversion of grassland into a cropland. So larger habitats gets converted into a smaller fragments. So this disrupt the complex interactions among the living organism. See, for example, this is the large forest area we have. So this is the large forest area we have. Okay, it is harboring millions of plants and animal species. That means millions of plants and animal species are living here. Okay, so this this large habitat gets broken down into smaller fragments. Gets broken down into smaller fragments because some people. So this is the large forest area. So some people they came here and they start constructing the industries. Okay, and some people they came here and they start growing the crops. They occupy this area and they start growing the crops. And some people they come and leave their cattle to graze here. Okay, and if some road may come in the middle. Okay, so that has resulted in the fragmentation of habitats. Okay, so the area or the habitat available for the species becomes less. So when larger area gets converted into a smaller fragments, so that restrict the area for the species of plants and animals for their living. Okay, and so they are unable to move, so they have to be live in this particular restricted area only. So they find difficult to survive here in this particular restricted area because some animals are like if you take an example of migratory birds or mammals, so they require a large territories. Okay, so such animals, such mammals and migratory birds, no, so they find difficult. So they find difficult to survive here. So their species, so they got eliminated. And similarly, so it also disrupt the interaction among the species. Why? Because the large habitat as they get converted into a smaller ones, smaller habitats, so they cannot move from. So here the species or organisms they are living in this particular habitat, they cannot move into other. because of some barriers. So because some cropland may come here in the came in the middle, okay, or some road may came in the middle, okay, or else dry land may came, okay, so that they are unable to move, so that they find breeding is affected here. So when they are unable to move into other habitats, so what happens here? So they are unable to, they have to find a mate within this restricted area only. So they are unable to, because they are unable to move to this habitat. Okay, so that resulted it. So this affects what? Breeding. So breeding is not possible between the organisms living in these two habitats. So okay, so that also that is also one of the reason for declining of species diversity. And so as they have to live in this particular restricted area, so there will be a competition for food. So there may be a scarcity of food, there may be a scarcity for living space, so there may be a scarcity for water, so that the species, whatever the species present in this particular area, they start competing for food, for living space. Okay, so that many of the, so in that competition many of the species got eliminated. Okay, so one of the major cause for species extinction is the loss of habitat loss. So habitat loss and the fragmentation of habitats. So this has declined. So this cause, so the habitat loss has caused, okay, it has killed many species of plants and animals. And I will give you two examples for habitat loss and fragmentation. So these are the two examples which are given in your NCERT only. One is, if you talk about tropical rainforest, rainforest. So this is important. So tropical rainforest, so once upon a time, tropical rainforest, no, so they have covered 14% of the Earth's land area. Once they covered 14% of the Earth's land area, but now it is reduced to 6%. Can you imagine? So more than half of the tropical rainforests are destroyed because of human activities. So you just think about the species lived there. Okay, half of the tropical rainforest have been cleared. Okay, so you just think what about the species which were present in that particular habitat. Understood? So earlier, once it has covered 14% of the total Earth's land area, but now it has occupied only 6% of the Earth's land area, total Earth's land area. So this is one of the example for a habitat loss. So this is because of, mainly because of human activities. And one more example. So we talked about tropical Amazon rainforest, no? Tropical Amazon rainforest. Tropical Amazon rainforest. So it's called as, so it is because of it is a very huge forest. It harbors millions and millions of plants and animal species. That means millions and millions of plants and animal species are living in this particular forest. So such a huge forest it is. So it was used to be called the lungs of the planet. The lungs of the planet. So this is because as it is having more and millions of plants are surviving here, living here. So because of its contribution to oxygen production. So because of its more contribution to oxygen production, so that means nearly, as I already said, 20% of the Earth oxygen is coming from this, only coming from this tropical rainforest. So their contribution in oxygen production is 20%. Okay, but this tropical rainforest, it is cut and cleared now. It is most of the tropical rainforest is cut and cleared because of the cultivation for soya bean. So it has been cut and cleared for the cultivation of soya bean, and also they developed grasslands there for raising of, and also in developing of grassland for raising of cattle. So that particularly beef cattle. So beef cattle means they are reared, particularly they are reared for its meat. Okay. So most of the Amazon, once it is used to be it was a huge forest. It is used to be called the lungs of the planet. So it is cut and cleared. Most of that area is occupied by humans for cultivating a soya bean, and for raising of beef cattle. They converted a particular area of the forest into a grassland for raising of beef cattle. Okay. So these are the two examples for habitat destruction. Understood clearly? So this is what the habitat loss and fragmentation. So it is one of the major causes for species extinction. So when habitat, we the peoples, humans are destroying their natural habitat of the species. So that has, once the species lost their home, they lost their habitat, they find difficult to survive. So this has resulted in the decline of species diversity. So this is one of the major cause, and the second one is the second one. Over-exploitation. Over-exploitation. So as I already said, human population is increasing day by day, right? So it is increasing at an alarming rate. So there is due to ever increasing human population has created competition among us, right? So there will be a competition for everything. So there will be a competition for survival, there will be a competition for food, there will be a competition for living space, okay, and there will be a competition for job. So this has created a competition among us, right? So this has turned our need into a greed. So greed means what here? Durase, ase enagta ide, jasti agta ide. So adrinda, so that has resulted in the over exploitation of natural resources. Okay, if any one of the plant or animal species get over exploited, okay, if the excessive exploitation of a particular plant or animal, so that has resulted in decline of the population of that particular species. So if we exploit, or if we over exploit any one of a particular plant or animal, so that population size reduces. Okay, so that population reduces, and that likely to become vulnerable, so that they are vulnerable to extinction, right? So because of over exploitation, so the species are going to become extinct. Okay, so we are because of over exploitation and because of over harvesting, so we are destroying the species diversity. So only because of our need, we are over exploiting the natural resources. One such example I want to give, so that we already discussed about the recent extinctions, right? That is one is dodo, right? It's a bird of Mauritius, and passenger pigeon. a passenger pigeon, and also a Steller's sea cow, Steller's sea cow, and the 3 subspecies of a tiger. So the 3 subspecies of tiger. So which are the 3 subspecies of tiger that has become recently extinct? Bali, Javan and Caspian. Okay. So all these species has become extinct in the last 500 years only because of over exploitation. So it's because of over exploitation, so these many species we lost from the earth. So like dodo, a passenger pigeon, so Steller's sea cow, 3 subspecies of tiger, that is Bali, Javan and Caspian, had become extinct in the last 500 years. So it's because of over exploitation. And similarly, it's due to over harvesting. It's due to over harvesting. So many marine important species of marine fishes. So important species of marine fishes are likely to become endangered. So because of the over harvesting of marine fishes, okay, so somehow because of over harvesting, so many species of marine fishes, so their number has declined, okay, so they are likely to be endangered. So these are the 2 examples for over exploitation. So when the need turns to greed, a man has over exploiting the natural resources, so that has resulted in the extinction of so many species. So if we exploit any particular plant or animal, that population size that population reduces, so that ultimately that becomes vulnerable to extinction. So similarly, it's because of over exploitation, so these many species like dodo, passenger pigeon, Steller's sea cow and the subspecies of 3 subspecies of tiger, Bali, Javan and Caspian, they have become extinct in the last 500 years. Okay, and also these marine fishes are likely to become endangered because of over harvesting. So this is what over exploitation. So over exploitation is also one of the major cause for biodiversity loss. Then next, third one. So which is the third one? Alien species invasion. So alien species. So alien species are also called as exotic species. Also called as exotic species or non-native species. So alien species are also called exotic species, are also called non-native species. So when a species entered into a particular geographical area, so that is called as alien species or exotic species. So when a new species, okay, when any new species that enter into a particular locality, a particular geographical region, so that becomes, that is called as what are exotic species or non-native species. So this This is one of the major, that is second major cause for the biodiversity loss. So the first is the habitat destruction, and the second is the second major cause. Of course, overexploitation is also one of the major cause. So the first is habitat loss, second is that invasion of alien species or exotic species or non-native species. Okay. So here that alien species. So that the introduction of alien species, either it may be intentionally, okay. So whether they are introduced or imported intentionally or unintentionally. So because of economic purpose or for any other use or for any other purpose. So whatever the purpose, so when they are introduced, when they are imported, so what they did is they become invasive. So whatever the purpose they have imported, they are introduced, so they become invasive. Okay, so they become invasive and dried out the native species or the local species. So when they came into our country, so what they did, they become invasive and dried out our native species. Okay, so they cause a greater threat to, so the indigenous species are the native species. So I give you a few examples for alien species invasion. So alien species invasion, they are causing a greater threat to the native species. Okay, so they are causing a greater loss to our native species. So it's because of alien species invasion, so many native species have lost. We have lost so many native species because of the exotic species. So I will give you some examples. One is Nile perch. So it is a large predator fish. Nile perch is a large predator fish. So it was introduced to okay. So it was introduced to Lake Victoria. It was introduced to Lake Victoria. So once it introduced to Lake Victoria, so it become there will be no competitor for this predator fish. Okay, so the number so once they introduced into that Lake Victoria, it become invasive. Okay, so it become invasive and killed more than 200 species of cichlid fishes, which were living in that lake. Okay, so the Nile perch was introduced into Lake Victoria, has killed more than 200 species of the native fishes, that is cichlid fishes, so which were living in that particular lake. So this is one example. So this is a alien species, and they kill cichlid species, native species. And one more example, you might have heard Parthenium. So it is called as what? Carrot grass. Commonly it is called as carrot grass. So it came to India accidentally. So it was not introduced. When Nile perch, that fish was introduced, no, but it was not introduced, but it came to India accidentally. So along with the import, along with as a contaminant imported wheat. Okay, so Parthenium, it came to India, okay, as a contaminant with imported wheat. So when it came to India, it became invasive. Okay, so no animals were grazing this plant, and there will be no competitor. So their population has increased, and it has occupied all the open land. It has occupied all the open land and causes exterminate number of herbs and as well as shrubs. So now it has become, so it came to India accidentally, but now it has become a serious weight and occupied all the open land and eliminated most of the herbs and as well as the shrubs. And one such is like Parthenium, one more alien species, one more exotic species, that is the Lantana. Okay, so it also came accidentally, so it was also introduced accidentally. So now it has also become like Parthenium, it also become a serious weed. Okay, it has become a serious weed and destroyed so many species. It also destroyed, it also eliminated so many species living in the forest. Okay, so both are the exotic weeds. Okay, so both came to our country accidentally. So now here they become a serious weed and cause greater loss to native species. So many native species of plants have declined or destroyed because of the invasion by this carrot grass and lantana. So and one more example, water hyacinth. So you already know about that water hyacinth, Eichhornia. It's called Terror of Bengal. You already read in the first chapter, right? So this water hyacinth, it is a aquatic weed, right? So it was introduced to our country because of its beautiful flowers, but now it has become a serious aquatic weed. Become a serious aquatic weed and killed so many aquatic plants and animals. Killed so many aquatic and killed so many aquatic plants and animals. So because of its beautiful flowers, it has been imported, but now it has resulted in death of so many aquatic plants and animals because it clogged the water bodies. Okay, so it covered the water bodies, resulting in oxygen depletion. So that causes death of so many aquatic plants and animals. So water hyacinth. Okay, now one more species is African catfish. African catfish. So Clarias garipinus. So Clarias garipinus. It is a African catfish. So it was illegally introduced to India because of aquaculture purpose. For aquaculture purpose, it was illegally introduced to India, but here it becomes invasive. Okay, so it becomes invasive. It is posing a threat to our native catfishes living in our rivers. Okay, so all these are the examples for alien species invasion. Okay, so when alien species or exotic species introduced intentionally or unintentionally, so whatever the purpose, so they are causing the decline of the native species. They become invasive and they kill so many species of plants and animals. So here are some of the examples for alien species, so which have destroyed a number of native species. So one such is Nile perch. So it has killed more than 200 species of cichlid fishes living in that particular lake. Parthenium and carrot grass, lantana. So both have become a serious weed and killed many species of plants like herbs, and Parthenium, that is the carrot grass, has cleared, has eliminated more number of herbs and shrubs. Like that lantana, it also now it has become a serious weed and eliminated most of the plant species. Water hyacinth. So it causes death of so many aquatic plants and animals by covering the water bodies. And African catfish, so it was imported for aquaculture purpose. So but it has posing a greater threat to our catfishes which are living in our rivers. Okay, so all these are the alien species. So alien species invasion is also one of the second major cause for destruction of the species diversity, or the extinction of species diversity. So this is one, and the last one is co-extinction. So as the name itself indicates, co-extinction. So if one of the species become extinct, the species depending on it for its survival also become extinct. Okay, so that is what co-extinction. So co-extinction means what here? So if one of the species become extinct, the other species depending on it will also become extinct. So that is what co-extinction. So students, in nature we can say so many relationships. Okay, so many obligatory relationships or association amongst the different species. Okay, so obligatory association means, so that means in such an association both the organisms are dependent on each other. So one organism in such association, obligatory association, one organism is dependent on other organism. Okay, so for their survival. So that is what obligatory relationship. Okay, so we can say a number of such relationships in nature. For example, if you take a plant pollinator relationship. Okay, so in plant pollinator relationship, so in some relationship both the organisms get benefited. In some relationship one species get harmed and other remain unaffected. Okay, and so like that so many such relationships we can see in the nature. So whatever if one of that particular organism has lost a particular organism extinct, so the other organism which living which dependent on it also become extinct. Okay, so I will give two examples here for co-extinction. One is host parasite relationship. So parasites are entirely dependent on a host for their food and as well as the survival, right? So they are entirely dependent on their host for food and for shelter. Okay, so if host fish is lost, if host fish become extinct, so the number of parasites, so the number of parasites, so all parasites that found on it, all parasites that found on it becomes extinct. Okay, suppose if the host species become extinct, so the parasites which dependent on fish, which are found on this fish also becomes extinct. So that is what co-extinction. So similarly, in another such in one such a relationship, that is a co-evolved plant pollinator mutualism. So in plant pollinator mutualism, so what happens, I will take the example of fig and fig wasp. So here is an example for mutualism. So both the organisms get benefit from this association. See here the fig wasp, so they use the fig fruits for laying its eggs. So they find a site for laying its eggs. Okay. In turn, while finding a suitable site for laying its egg, so it pollinate the fig inflorescence. So both the organisms get benefit here. Okay, so the plant that fig inflorescence, no, so that gets pollinated, and the fig wasp, no, so that got a suitable place or site for laying its eggs. Suppose if this species, so every fig species has its partner species wasp. If any such a fig species becomes extinct, so the wasps are depending on it, depending on that species to lay its egg also become extinct, because it is unable to lay its eggs. So then fertilization will not takes place. Okay, so that so if the fig becomes extinct, the wasp depending on it also become extinct. Okay, so that is what the co-extinction. Understood? So all these are the four major causes of biodiversity losses. So what are the evil quartet of biodiversity loss? What are the four major causes? One is the habitat loss and fragmentation. The second one is over exploitation. The third one is, which is the third one? Alien species invasion. And the fourth one is co-extinction. So these are the four major causes of biodiversity loss. So in habitat loss, it's due to fragmentation of habitats, it's due to that habitat loss. Okay, so that causes that has resulted in the loss of biodiversity. So over exploitation of natural resources resulted in the loss of biodiversity. So I given examples of extinct species because of over exploitation. And one more is alien species invasion. So when the exotic species are introduced, so they become invasive and they kill so many native species. And the last one is co-extinction. So when one of the organism become extinct, the other organism depending on it also become extinct. Okay, so these are the four major causes of biodiversity loss. So this is a very important for a board exam. Okay, and also for the okay, so many questions can be arise from this concept. And explain, this is a 5-mark question. Okay, explain the evil quartet of biodiversity loss, or else explain the four major causes of biodiversity loss. So if they ask like that, so you have to write all the four major causes along with the examples. Please don't forget to write the examples, because what examples have given here, so they are all from the NCERT. So write, explain all the four major causes along with examples. Understood? So this is very important for 5 marks. So then we will move on to our next concept. So understood this concept clearly? Okay. The next we will move on to another concept. Conservation of biodiversity. Conservation of biodiversity. See, so because of all these activities, because of all these things what we discussed, like it may be a alien species invasion, or it may be alien species invasion, or it may be a over exploitation. Okay, so or else climatic changes. Okay, so all these things are due to pollution. So pollution is also degrading the habitat. Okay, so if the habitats get polluted, the species which are sensitive to pollution, no, so they may get eliminated. Okay, so like pollution, climatic changes. Okay, so all these causes change in ecosystem. Okay, so they causes a change in the ecosystem. But so many species have already become extinct, and still many are going to become extinct in the near future. But most of the people are now recognizing the importance of diversity. So now they started recognizing the importance of biodiversity to the ecosystem and as well as to the mankind at all the levels, at a genetic level and a species level and ecological level. So by realizing the importance, they start conserving the biodiversity. So when we talk about the conservation of biodiversity, the very first thing came to our mind is, why should we conserve biodiversity? So why should we conserve biodiversity? So there are so many reasons. Why should we conserve So why should we conserve our biodiversity? So there are so many reasons. So as I said, world human population is increasing at an alarming rate. So it is increasing like anything, okay. So the resources, the world resources are used up. So the world resources are, so when the human population is increasing, the world resources are being used up at an increasing rate. So once the damage we did know, so that is irreversible. So because of ever growing population, to fulfill our needs, okay, so because we are dependent upon plants and animals for various purposes. So we are getting multiple benefits from the ecosystem. So when we talk about from the economic point of view, from the medicinal point of view, from the recreational point of view, so we are getting multiple benefits from the ecosystem. So it's due to our increasing our human population, to fulfill our needs for our sake, so there is a need to conserve a biodiversity. So there are many reasons for conservation of biodiversity. They can be grouped under three main categories. One is narrowly utilitarian. Broadly utilitarian, and the third one is ethical. So there are so many reasons for conservation of biodiversity. So they can be grouped under three main categories, that is narrowly utilitarian, broadly utilitarian and ethical. So what is this narrowly utilitarian? So narrowly utilitarian means, so what direct benefits we are getting from the nature, so that fall under this category, okay. So what direct benefits we are getting from the nature, so that is narrowly utilitarian. So what are the direct benefits? Say for example food. If you take food, so what is the source of our food? Where it come from? It directly come from the plants and animals. So what food we eat now, so that come from plants and animals, okay, whether it may be like cereals, pulses, fruits, vegetables, milk, meat, egg. So all the food we eat come from the plants and animals. So this is one thing. And firewood, so it is the source of energy for cooking and heating. So nearly 2 billion people, so more than so many billion people are depending on this firewood. So they are using firewood as a source of energy for cooking and heating. So billions of people are using firewood as a source of energy for cooking and heating. So this is also a direct benefit from the nature. And similarly, a fiber. So many number of plants and also animals, so they are a source of natural fiber, so which is used in making bags, used in making ropes or mats, okay, or else some strong fabrics. So they are getting so that fiber from so many plants and animals. So like for example jute. ಸೊ ಸೆಣಬು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ. ಫ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು, ಅಗಸೆ ಬೀಜ. ಸೊ ದ ಫೈಬರ್ ಈಸ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್. ಜೂಟ್, ಫ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್, hemp, okay, hemp, and one more is cotton, coir, okay. So all these are the sources of natural fiber which is used in making ropes and also bags, strong fabrics, and also used in making mats. So all are plants and animal sources only. And some industrial products. So can I give you an example for industrial products? So you might have heard tannins, resins. So a gummy substance that is extruded from the trees, resins, and also lubricants which reduces the friction, okay, lubricants, and also rubber, paper, dyes, perfumes. So all these are some of the industrial products, okay. So they are obtained from the plants. Understood? So food, firewood, fiber, industrial products, and one more major thing is timber. Okay, the timber. The wood is being used as timber in the construction work. So the wood is used as timber in the construction work, or is used in making furniture. So used in construction work, and also in making furniture. Also used in making furnitures, sports goods, musical instruments. Okay, musical instruments, so of plant origin, right? And one more important thing is, so many plants are of medicinal value. Majority of the medicines we are taking are derived from plants. So about 25% of the drugs we are using. So what 25% of the drugs we are using, so they are derived from a plant species. They are derived from a plant species. And similarly, about 25,000 species of plants are used by the native people in traditional medicine. So still many plants, still many species of plants are there which are of medicinal value, but they are not yet explored. So when you go to a tropical rainforest and all, we will get some more species of the plants which are of medicinal value, so they are not yet explored. Okay, so these are all the direct benefits from the nature. So they are all grouped under narrowly utilitarian. And the second one is broadly utilitarian. Broadly utilitarian. So what indirect benefits we are getting from the nature will come under this broadly, are grouped under broadly utilitarian. So indirect benefits we are getting from the nature will grouped under a broadly utilitarian. See, for example, oxygen, right? So oxygen, like we talked about tropical Amazon rainforest, no? So that it is famous for what? So it is called as lungs of the planet. Why? Because so we are getting the plants are replenishing oxygen of the atmosphere, right? So they are carried. So plants are the primary producers, right? So they are the primary producers. They are able to prepare their own food by a process of photosynthesis. Okay, so by a process of photosynthesis or through photosynthesis, the plants are replenishing the oxygen of the atmosphere. So of that, the 20% contribution is from the Amazon tropical rainforest. Okay, so oxygen, and when it comes to pollination, so many species of animals they act as pollinating agents. They bring about pollination, so which is essential for the formation of fruits and seeds. So for example, cross pollination requires pollinating agents. So without pollinating agents, the pollination may not be possible, right? So that require pollinating agents. So many species of animals, like take for example insects, birds, and also bat. Okay, so they acts as pollinating agents. They bring about pollination. They transfer pollen grains from one plant to another plant. So thereby they helps in pollination. Okay, so that resulted in the formation of fruits and seeds. So without if pollinating, if we do that job, so it may require, so it would cost nearly $1 billion. So the nature is, so that is pollination, what we discussed, that is without that pollinating agents, the pollination may not be possible. So the nature, that is some species are very helpful in the process of pollination, right? So if we do that job, it would cost about $1 billion. And one more thing, oxygen over, another is pollination, and one more thing is aesthetic value. Aesthetic value. So this biodiversity also has aesthetic value or attraction value. So it provides us a lot of pleasure, okay, and a lot of excitement. So when we listen to the bird songs, so when we walk through a thick forest, some kind of, when we walk through a thick forest, some kind of peace we get, or some kind of happiness we get, right? And when we observe the flowers blooming, so that will give some kind of, some sort of happiness, right? So it has the biodiversity, so it also has aesthetic value and as well as the attraction value. So it gives us, so excitement and pleasure to listen to the bird song, to observe the flowers blooming and all. And one more is Flood and erosion control. Flood and erosion control. Soil erosion means what? It is the removal of top layer of the soil. So that has been prevented by plants. So the plants cover. So the plants cover is protecting the soil against the blowing wind and also by the runoff water. Okay. So the plant roots so they hold the soil particles against the moving wind and the moving water. Okay. So that prevent soil erosion. And one more thing, they also increasing the porosity of the soil. They make the soil more porous. They loosens the soil so that what happens, the water percolates through these pores. So that has resulted in the storage of that underground water. Okay, so the porosity of the soil helps in the percolation of water into the soil. Okay, so that that has become a source for underground water, and also it prevents it helps in holding off, it helps in the retention of water, and it also avoids the runoff of rainwater. So the biodiversity is also playing role in the flood and erosion control. Okay, so all these comes under broadly utilitarian. So these are all some indirect benefits we are getting from the nature or the biodiversity. So these are broadly utilitarian, and one more is, the third one is ethical. So ethical. So like us, there are millions of plants and animal species, millions of plants, millions of animals, many millions of microorganisms are present on the earth, right? And each and every organism playing as there is own role. So each and every species has its own role in the ecosystem, has its own role in the nature, and every organism is important. No organism is useless. Every organism is useful in one or the other way. So, and see, I talked about the multiple benefits of ecosystem. So from the economic point of view, recreational point of view, and also from the medicinal point of view. Okay, and for our food we are entirely dependent upon plants and animals, and similarly many of the microorganisms most of the microorganisms are useful to mankind. So microorganisms are used in making in the preparation of household products, they are used in industries, okay, and they are used as microorganisms are even used as biofertilizers. So every like this every plants, animals, whether it may be a plant or animal or whether it may be a microbe, so every organism has its own role. So every organism is useful in one or the other way, and we are deriving many benefits from plants, animals, and also from the microorganisms, right? So it is our duty. So like us, they also evolved just as we evolved. So and we are getting benefits from them. It's our moral or ethical duty to conserve them. Ethical duty to not to destroy them. So instead we should take care of them, okay, so that we can pass that biological prosperity or biological legacy to the future generation, so that they can make use of that biological that wealth. Okay, so this is what ethical. So it's our ethical duty not to harm any plants or any animal or any organism. So instead we should conserve, okay, so for our future generations. Understood clearly? So this comes under ethical, okay. So why should we conserve biodiversity? There are so many reasons, and they are grouped under three categories. Narrowly utilitarian, what direct benefits we are getting from the nature, that is narrowly utilitarian, and indirect benefits we are getting from the biodiversity, that will come under broadly utilitarian, and another is ethical. Third one is the ethical. So this is how this is the reasons we should need to conserve biodiversity for our own sake. So understood this much clearly. So I end up this session now. So in the next class we will discuss how do we conserve biodiversity. So in this session we discuss why should we conserve biodiversity. So in the next class we will discuss how do we conserve biodiversity. Understood? Thank you.